Hi, this is Sophie Gilbert with 4-H News, and I'm here with Brett Bain, who's the ranger at Fort Casey State Park on Whidbey Island, Washington. So, Brett, could you give us a brief history about the park here in the Lighthouse?
Sure. The park became a state park here in 1956. It was bought from the U.S. Army. It was originally a Coast Artillery fort and designed to defend the entrance of Puget Sound here. Originally, there was a lighthouse in place on the point where the fort is now standing, and the Army had to cut a deal with the Lighthouse Society to rebuild a second lighthouse, which is what we now have. The park and the lighthouse are both over 100 years old now. The fort was built in 1901, and the second lighthouse was built in 1903. Therefore, we've celebrated the centennials of each. The interesting thing about the lighthouse here is it was not a lighthouse that warned of a hazard. Instead, it was actually a navigational lighthouse. The ships actually sailed for the lighthouse and then tacked back in to get inside the sound. The lighthouse architect, Carl Leich, liked to build his structures to last, and he used to say, build them stout to make them last. And you can see the lighthouse is a sturdy structure and has lasted the test of time. It is a white stucco building, reminiscent of a Spanish-style construction, and is a beautiful lighthouse. It's one of the most photographed lighthouses on the West Coast.
So what changes have you seen in terms of management for the lighthouse over the years?
Well, originally State Parks was able to keep the lighthouse open and provide public access to the lighthouse through our own staff. But with lean times and lean budgets, cuts were made and we lost our interpretive staff. The lighthouse was then closed for a period of time until a deal could be made with the WSU Extension Program and State Parks to provide office space for those folks to run their programs out of, and in turn they provided volunteers to staff the lighthouse and once again reopen it to the public. And that's where we stand at this point today. The lighthouse is now open 7 days a week from 11 to 5 p.m. All summer long with their help. And we have a large visitor population that loves to come out and see the lighthouse and the interpretive displays that we have inside.
So do you track the number of people who come to your lighthouse or the park here?
Yes, we do. The park annually attracts about 700,000 people a year. Of that number, maybe 40,000 or so visit the lighthouse directly and go inside to see the displays that we have there. Whidbey Island relies heavily on tourism, and we have many thousands of folks come to the island during the summertime to see the sights out here. Central Whidbey in particular is a great draw. Not only do we have the lighthouse, the only lighthouse on the island, and the fort, but it lies within the National Historical Reserve, and people want to come and see the national park end of things here. Deception Pass on the north end of the island is a great draw. People are drawn to the natural beauty of the bridge and the pass up there. And I think State Parks is definitely responsible for a large amount of draw to the area. And having the lighthouse open brings many lighthouse aficionados to the area. The parks are always busy, particularly in the summertime on the weekends. We keep our campgrounds full, overflowing, as a matter of fact. We turn many visitors away. So tourism is a large part of the area, and the lighthouse is a large draw in that.
So tell us about the people who work and volunteer in the lighthouse.
Sure. The programs that operate out of the lighthouse are the beach watchers, Wastewise, and the lighthouse docents. Those 3 programs operate out of our upstairs rooms, and that's where they have their office space. And in turn for that office space, they provide volunteer staff for the Lighthouse to keep it open for the public. The volunteers come from all sorts of different locations. Volunteers, beach watcher volunteers, of course, and the programs that operate from the Lighthouse. Their volunteers are in the Lighthouse, but we've got people from all over come to volunteer in the Lighthouse. It's quite a diverse group of folks. We've got a lot of retired folks with a multitude of different skills and backgrounds, and they really do a great job. The public loves the access, and they love the stories that they get from being greeted by these folks, and they do a great job for us. Not only are they running the Lighthouse programs, but they also do tours for us and take folks out into the fort and tour the fort with folks and provide a lot of education for the school groups that use Casey Conference Center located down below us here for thousands of children every year. So they're doing a fabulous job in providing a great service.
What's that noise back there? It's really loud.
That is what the Naval Air Station Woodby refers to as the sound of freedom.
So what does the future hold for the Lighthouse here?
Ultimately, we would like to interpret the Lighthouse solely as a lighthouse. Currently, we are interpreting the fort as well as the Lighthouse, and then using the upstairs as office space. So eventually, we will have the entire Lighthouse used only for lighthouse interpretation. To do that, we will require a new building facility for our fort interpretation, as well as office space for our partners and ourselves. And we hope to relocate those and reconstruct some historical buildings in the fort to accomplish that.
So what would it be like here if you didn't have WSU extension programs at the Lighthouse?
Well, first of all, I don't think we would be able to offer the same level of public access that we enjoy now. While we could possibly keep it open for some periods of time, I don't think we could match the level that we get now. The other thing is some of the public recognition that we get for having the groups in the park, because they do a lot of good work. They've helped create a composting interpretive trail for us, and are providing a lot of great educational services that state parks, that's a big goal for state parks, is to provide that service.
So does the state park save money by having all these volunteers here?
Well, yes, it saves us staff time. Right now, at our current staff levels, we probably could not keep the Lighthouse open as much as it is now, as I stated previously. It would require us to probably rehire the interpretive position that we lost. And with current budget situations, we haven't been able to accomplish that task. So the man hours that they are providing are invaluable to us, and are definitely a great resource for the state in general.
So what other benefits do you guys have with having all these volunteers here?
Well, the large number of volunteers that we have provides a great advocacy group for the park. These folks care greatly about the park and the Lighthouse, and they're good at going out and spreading the word and letting folks know what great work is happening out here.
Thank you, Brett. This is Sophie Gilbert with 4-H News here at Fort Casey State Park.